You know, no one really prepares us for this part of life. We spend so much time raising families, working hard, taking care of others. Then one day, we look around, and it's quiet. Sometimes, too quiet. If you've ever found yourself lying in bed at night, wondering what will happen if you get sick alone, or asking, who would even know if I didn't wake up tomorrow? Then this video is for you. Because here's the truth, growing older alone can feel scary. But it doesn't have to be hopeless. Today, I'm going to walk you through the most common fears seniors face when aging solo, fears you might not talk about out loud, but they're there. And more importantly, I'll show you how to face them head on. We're not just talking about staying busy or thinking positive. We're going to look at real risks, medical, emotional, even financial. And for each one, I'll give you a clear, practical way to take back control. By the end, I hope you'll feel a little more prepared, and a lot less alone. Let's start with the biggest one. The fear of running out of money. It's not just about not affording vacations or luxuries. It's about the essentials. What if your savings dry up before you do? What if your rent goes up? What if you need a caregiver someday? These are not just what ifs, they're very real possibilities. A woman named Joyce, in her late 70s, shared that after her husband passed, she realized she had no clue how their finances were managed. Bills piled up. Her pension barely covered her groceries. And she had no one to ask for help without feeling like a burden. Joyce isn't alone. In fact, single older women are one of the most financially vulnerable groups. And it's not because they were irresponsible. Often, it's because they trusted that there would always be someone there to help. But now, that someone is you. So what can you do? First, take an honest look at where your money goes. It's not fun, I know. But clarity is power. Track your spending for a full month. See what's essential and what's not. Next, talk to a financial advisor who understands senior needs. There are ones who specialize in elder budgeting. Even one conversation can uncover things like benefits you didn't know you qualified for, or simple ways to stretch what you have. And if you're healthy and able, consider light work that fits your pace. Some seniors sell crafts. Others tutor online. There's no shame in earning a little extra, it's independence. And it can be the difference between fear and freedom. Now, let's talk about the second big fear. Losing your health, or worse, losing your independence. It starts small, doesn't it? Maybe your balance feels a little off. Maybe stairs get harder. Then one day, you slip. Or you forget something important. And suddenly, the world feels dangerous in a way it never used to. This is exactly what happened to Harold, age 82. He was sharp as ever mentally, but a minor stroke changed everything. He could no longer cook for himself safely. His daughter lived states away. He hated asking neighbors for help, so he simply stopped eating well. When he finally got help, he was malnourished and deeply depressed. Not because of the stroke, but because he felt invisible. Here's the hard truth: the body changes. But losing your independence doesn't have to mean losing your dignity. There are simple things you can do right now to protect yourself. Install grab bars in your bathroom, even if you think you don't need them yet. Replace slippery rugs. Have a medical alert device, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Think of it like wearing a seatbelt. You hope you never need it, but you're grateful it's there. More than anything, build a relationship with your doctor that's based on honesty. Tell them your real fears, not just about your blood pressure, but about what happens if you can't drive, can't shop, can't manage alone. There are services and support systems that most people never ask about, because they don't know they exist. Now, here comes the one most of us whisper to ourselves in the dark. The fear of dying alone. I know. It's not easy to hear. But pretending it's not there doesn't make it go away. For some, it's the image of being found days later. For others, it's the thought that no one will remember them. But here's what I want to tell you. Dying alone doesn't mean being forgotten. And being remembered doesn't require children, or a spouse, or a big family. It only takes one connection, a neighbor, a friend, someone whose life you touched. Take Marsha, 76, no kids, never married. She started volunteering at the library once a week. After a year, She had 3 young adults calling her Grandma Marcia. They checked on her. They brought her soup when she was sick. They came to her birthday with flowers and cake. And they cried at her funeral. She didn't die alone. Because in life, she had made herself seen. If this fear sits heavy on your chest, here's a simple first step. Join something. A walking club. A book circle. A gardening group. Don't wait to feel less lonely to do it. Do it because that first hello might be the start of something bigger. And finally, the fear no one talks about until it's too late. The fear that your life won't have mattered. That when you're gone, there will be nothing left of you. It's not vanity. It's human. We all want to know we made a mark. You don't need to write a book or donate a fortune. Sometimes, your greatest legacy is a letter you wrote. A recipe you passed down. A kindness you showed that someone else never forgot. Helen, a retired nurse, started writing little notes of encouragement and slipping them into books at the community library. Years later, someone found one and shared it online. It went viral. And thousands of people wrote, "Thank you. I needed this today." Helen never knew she touched that many hearts. But she did. Because she didn't wait to be remembered. She lived in a way that left echoes. And so can you. In the next part of this video, I'll show you how to take all of these pieces, your finances, your health, your fears, your hopes, and start shaping a real plan. One that keeps you safe, supported, and truly seen. We'll talk about tools you can use, people you can lean on, and mindsets that truly change the way you age. But before we go there, just take a breath. Growing older alone doesn't mean being alone. Not if you don't let it. So where were we? Yes. That deep breath. That moment of stillness to remind yourself, aging solo doesn't have to mean going it alone. Now, let's take that truth, and turn it into something solid. Something you can lean on. Because knowing your fears is one thing. But building a plan, one that works for you, that's how you take your power back. Let's start simple. Let's talk about who's in your corner. You don't need a crowd. But you do need a circle. It could be 3 people. Maybe even just 1. But these are the folks who know when something feels off. Who check in. Who make life warmer. If you're not sure who's in your circle yet, that's okay. You can build one. And no, it's not too late. A man named Roger, 81, told me he realized he'd spent too many years keeping to himself. After his wife passed, he avoided social events. He told himself it was just easier that way. But deep down, he felt invisible. One day, his neighbor, whom he barely knew, invited him to a community potluck. Roger didn't want to go. He almost said no. But something inside whispered, "Try." He went. And that night, someone asked about his old woodworking hobby. Next thing he knew, he was helping lead a small class at the local rec center. And every Tuesday afternoon, he had somewhere to be. Someone waiting to hear his stories. Someone who noticed if he didn't show up. That's a circle. And it starts with one yes. Now, if you truly feel like there's no one around, no family, no friends, no familiar faces, there are still ways to build support. Look into virtual villages or aging networks in your area. These are programs designed specifically for older adults who live alone. They connect people with check-in calls, errands, transportation, even shared housing resources. It might feel awkward at first. But remember, you're not asking for pity. You're offering presence. And that's something people need just as much as you do. Now let's move from people to plans. I want you to think about your daily life, your routines, your habits, your home. Where do things feel vulnerable? It could be something simple, like struggling with heavy grocery bags. Or something bigger, like not having a backup if your power goes out during a storm. These things matter. And they're often where stress sneaks in. Start by creating what I like to call your confidence checklist. It's not a to-do list. It's a peace of mind list. Who has a spare key to your place? Do you have a plan if you fall and can't reach your phone? Do your neighbors know your name? Do you have an in case of emergency folder with medical info, contacts, a copy of your ID? These are small steps, with big impact. And here's something else. There are now smart devices made specifically for seniors. Voice-controlled assistants, fall detectors that don't require buttons, pill dispensers that alert you if you forget. You don't have to be tech-savvy. Many of these are one button, plug and play. Think of them as your silent helpers. Let's pause for a moment though, and talk about something a little deeper. Your mindset. Because even with a perfect plan, if your heart is filled with dread, the days will feel heavy. So how do you shift that? It starts with this simple belief. Your life still has meaning. Even now. Even alone. Even if your knees ache and your phone doesn't ring as much. There's still something you're meant to give. And receive. Do you remember something you loved doing but stopped? Maybe painting. Maybe music. Maybe gardening, even just on a windowsill. Or maybe you've never told your story, the real one. Not just the milestones, but the quiet parts in between. Someone out there needs to hear it. There's a woman named Ethel, 88, who started writing letters to her younger self. She'd read them aloud at a senior storytelling group. After one meeting, a 62-year-old widow came up to her, tears in her eyes, and said, "You wrote exactly how I feel." That's connection. That's meaning. That's legacy. You don't need a stage. You just need to be willing to show up. If you're thinking, "But I don't want to burden anyone," let me say this clearly. You are not a burden. You are a bridge. Between wisdom and the world. Between experience and those still trying to find their way. Now let's bring it all together. Here's what I'd love for you to do, starting today. Take 10 minutes. Write down your biggest fear about growing older alone. Then, right below it, write one small thing you can do to ease that fear. Not to solve it all. Just to ease it. Then do it. Just that one step. Maybe it's asking your pharmacist if they deliver. Maybe it's looking up a local senior group. Maybe it's reaching out to an old friend with a message that says, "Thinking of you today." These small moves matter more than you know. Because when you act on your own behalf, something shifts inside. You stop waiting for life to happen to you. And you start happening to life. Before we close, I want to tell you one last story. There's a gentleman named Samuel, who lives alone in a quiet corner of Maine. He doesn't have children. His wife passed over a decade ago. But every Friday morning, he puts on his best sweater, walks to the local coffee shop, and reads the paper. One day, a young man sat across from him and asked if he could borrow the sports section. They chatted briefly. The next week, the young man came again. They talked about football, then music, then life. Now, every Friday, Samuel saves that seat. Because he's not just an old man drinking coffee. He's part of something. And all it took was showing up. So I ask you, gently, kindly, with all the care in the world, where can you show up? Who might you meet there? And what version of yourself might be waiting for you, just on the other side of that first step? Because you are not done yet. You are not invisible. And this life you're living, quiet as it may feel some days, still holds purpose, beauty, and connection. So if this video spoke to something in you, if even a small part of it felt like a truth you've carried, then please, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment. Share your story. Tell us how you've faced the silence, the worry, the what ifs. Because when you speak, someone else listens. And when you share, someone else dares to hope again. If you found this helpful, give it a like, maybe share it with someone who needs it. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button because we've got more stories, tools, and gentle reminders that you're not alone on this path. Thanks for spending this time with me. Truly. Until next time, take care of yourself. You matter more than you know.